Italia's immigration policy is the lead for the Daily Mail. Reports figures from the Refugee Council, which estimate that changes to the way claims are processed would result in 70,000 illegal migrants being granted asylum. Conservatives believe the figure could be nearer to 90,000. Immigration is also on the front page of The Independent, which focuses on comments by Home Secretary Yvette Cooper on the Conservative Party's Rwanda project. She described it as a shocking waste of taxpayers' money. She believes that £700 million spent on Mussolini is to spend £1 billion. The front page of The Express is a prediction from the leader of the Reform Party, Nigel Farage, that all Conservative MPs will be deputised by the end of the year. Conservatives will rather switch. Still be reform before the election. Times report that we're becoming more accepting as a nation of all that's left. Agencies say there is a growing day. Organisers were keen to raise standards to encourage the athletes to make healthier choices. One example of what it gives is a croissant topped with a poached egg, artichoke cream and sheep's cheese, sprinkled with truffle. Now, business and the train drivers' union ASLEF is due at the Department of Transport today for talks. Drivers have been locked in a long-running dispute about pay with more than a dozen train operating companies. That and the rest of the business headlines is Nick Marsh.
It's been nearly 2 years since train drivers began strikes over pay and working conditions. ASLEF rejected the most recent proposals over a year ago, which included 2 successive pay rises of 4%. The union's main objection then was to terms concerning training and Sunday working. Now, ASLEF believes the change of government will make a deal possible. The Transport Secretary Louise Hay has said she's committed to resetting industrial relations. A group of mortgage borrowers who say they're trapped paying high rates of interest with no access to competitive mortgages are launching a group court action today. Around 2,500 people, many of whom took out mortgages with the now defunct lender Northern Rock, say that they were switched to a much higher variable rate after the bank collapsed in 2008. The borrowers, who've been labelled mortgage prisoners, are suing one of the buyers of the loans, TSB Whistletree. TSB says it doesn't believe the case has merit and will defend it vigorously. The US toy giant Mattel has announced its first blind Barbie doll as it continues to increase diversity across its doll range. Campaigners have previously called for Barbie to represent a more realistic body, while some people with disabilities said the dolls were not relatable. The new doll comes with a cane, sunglasses, and has accessibility features to ensure that children with sight loss can play with it. Mattel said the goal was to enable all children to see themselves in Barbie. Time for the markets now, and in the city, the 100 index ended up by 43 points, that's up 0.5%. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones ended also up by 128 points, roughly 0.3%. On the currency markets, the pound's trading at $1.29 against the euro, sterling's at 1.19. That makes €1 worth 84 pence.
Sport now, on the details of some of the athletes named in the Team GB squad for the Paralympics and the rest of the sport. Here's travelling Dame Sarah Storm says she's thrilled to have the chance to put on the Great Britain kit again after being selected for the 9th Paralympic Games. The 46-year-old cyclist won a record-breaking 17th Paralympic gold in Tokyo in 2021, making her GB's most decorated competitor. Fellow reigning Paralympic champions Kalina Cox, Jodie Cundy, Laura and Neil Faki, Jacko Van Gass and Ben Watson are also in the Paracycling squad, which includes 6 Games debutants. Meanwhile, Tour de France winner Tadej Pogacar will not be staying in Paris for the Games, which start on Friday. The Slovenian, who also won the Giro d'Italia in May, has pulled out because of extreme fatigue. The latest football transfers, Aston Villa have signed Amadou Onana from Everton in a deal worth £50 million. Chelsea Chelsea have agreed a fee of around 8.5 million to sign defender Taylor Riley from Newcastle United. Tottenham midfielder Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg is betting on faith on an initial loan deal for next season. Women's Super League champions Chelsea will start a new campaign at home to Aston Villa under their new boss Sonia Bonpastor. Arsenal take on Manchester City in arguably the tie of the opening round of fixtures, which will take place on the weekend on the 21st and 22nd of September. In cricket, Charlie Cassell broke the record for the best bowling figures by a debutant in men's one-day international history after taking 7 for 21 during Scotland's 8-wicket win over Oman in Dundee. Cassell's figures are the 7th best in men's ODI history overall. Chapman News. Finally, a glance back at some of the stories that were making news on this date in earlier years. NASA announced the discovery of an Earth-like planet, Kepler-52b, on this date in 2015. The planet is about 1,400 light years away from us, and it will take approximately 26 million years to get there. The singer Amy Winehouse was found dead from alcohol poisoning at a home in North London, aged 27, in 2011. Her album Back to Black won her 5 Grammy Awards. Her final recording in a duet with the late Tony Bennett, who praised her talents just days before her death.
What I like about her, more than any of the other artists I've heard, is that she's truly a good jazz singer, completely original, inventive right at that moment, and she's good at it. And I don't know any of the younger artists that do that.
A husband and wife from Hartlepool were jailed for faking his death in a canoe accident and cashing in on pension and insurance policies in 2008. John and Anne Darwin kept up their deception for 5 years and later settled in Panama. They were each jailed for more than 6 years. In 1986, Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson married at Westminster Abbey. A worldwide television audience of 500 million tuned in to see the couple exchange their vows. The couple divorced in 1992. Donald Campbell set a new water speed record when he drove Bluebird K7 at 202 miles per hour at Ullswater in the Lake District on this day in 1955. And in 1904, the first ice cream cone was made by Charles Mencius in New Zealand. And this to the end of this morning's newspaper. This is BBC Radio 4. It's time for Proud of the Day with Annette C. Lynchbury. Good morning, everyone. So, one of the weirdest traumas I've had to process from my parents' rocky relationship is the loss of my childhood photo albums. My dad insists my mother took them and burnt them in a fit of rage. My mother wholeheartedly denies the accusations and maintains that my father did it. All I know is that I loved flipping through those albums, a collection of memories and stories that I was too young to remember, but here was evidence they did happen. An entire childhood of firsts and highlights and happy moments captured and saved for me. In lieu of my childhood photos, I make do with family get-togethers. When we're all together, I always make us relive and share stories again and again, and sometimes in the retelling, new, different stories are unearthed, like finding an old photo tucked away in between photo album folds. And this has made me realize that in fact, more than the pictures, we are one another's memory keepers. Whilst I love sharing stories in this way, this bizarre childhood experience is probably also why I still love taking photos, capturing moments that can be relived decades to come. So today, take the photo. It doesn't have to be perfect, you don't have to post it. Just keep it as evidence of a life well lived. Lord, thank you for our phones and the chance to take photos. Thank you for all that those photos represent. Lives littered with good things that are so easy to forget. May the photos we take be a reminder of good times. And when things are hard and the days are colder, may we look at these photos and feel our spirits buoyed by the memory of all the love and joy we've had the privilege of experiencing. May these good memories serve as a reminder of your goodness to us. Amen. That was Prayer for the Day with Annette C. Lynchbury. Now on Radio 4, Farming Today with Kaz Gray.
Good morning. Farming budgets need to rise substantially. So say 3 conservation groups who argue that it's crucial investment for meeting legally binding targets on nature and climate. We'll have more on that later. First of all though, UK households spent around £8 billion on gardening products last year, according to the HTA, that's the Horticulture Trades Association. Association. If you are a garden centre groupie, that probably will surprise you. And all this week we're visiting plant nurseries and looking into the horticulture sector. Yesterday we heard from a nursery owner who's built an inspection area to help prevent dealings with imported plants to the UK border. Charlotte Smith discussed this with Fran Barnes from the Horticulture Trade Association. But first, it's been Britain for weather.
This year has been wet, to say the least. We've just had a spot of really hot weather and sunny weather, but it does follow 2023, which was again a year of record weather, and then straight into this year, which has seen huge amounts of rainfall. It has had an impact on growers and retailers. People haven't necessarily felt the urge to get out into their garden. The other issue is that we've had a lot of rain, but with no clear strategy of water resilience. So what are we doing with the rain that's fallen? How are we helping them, certainly for our sector, for growers who need water? How are we making it easier for them to develop reservoirs to store that water to avoid shortages in the future?
Now, we've spoken before on this programme about your concerns about the new inspections regime. That came in earlier this year. Just to explain, it used to be that imported plants would be taken to the nursery, inspected there, and now they've opened these new inspection points at the border. There was a bit of a bumpy start to that. Is it getting better?
In a short answer, no. It's incredibly frustrating. So our concern at the start was moving it to borders would see increased costs, delays at the port, and potential damage to goods. There's real uncertainty about the costs. There's still no transparency about what is being inspected and what kind of inspection it is, therefore how much it's going to cost. And the damage is still a real potential to have. And some of these are really high value plants that are potentially being handled in a crowded area with people who aren't necessarily skilled.
We did ask the government about this. They say our teams continue to work closely with traders to ensure checks are completed efficiently and swiftly, ensuring there are no significant delays. The government will work to improve the UK's trade and investment relationship with the EU and will take a pragmatic approach which will support businesses and ensure efficient trade is maintained between the EU and Great Britain. I should say that they also mentioned the importance of protecting the UK's biosecurity. In this pragmatic relationship, what would that mean for your members?
Nowhere else in the world is there a border that sees such a volume of plants and plant products traded between countries without a plant health agreement. So a priority has got to be to have a plant health agreement in place that could minimise the need for inspections. And it's not just the potential biosecurity risk, it's the real damage that it can do to trade. So we've got lorry drivers who need to bring these plants over in wagons. In the first week inspections, one firm had 25 trucks inspected. The delays were 93 hours over 1 week. It costed their company £38,000 in extra costs. Now that same company is now projecting costs based on the current low inspection rate, and it is low, it varies between 2% and 40%, will amount to about 1.5 million over a 12-month period, which is a 25% increase in their logistics costs. Now drivers are also becoming more and more unwilling to bring goods across the border because the long hours spent waiting on docksides and the poor driver welfare. Facilities weren't intended to have long delays there. They were intended to facilitate fast inspections, but that's not happening.
Fran Barnes from the Horticultural Trades Association. Avon and Somerset Police have confirmed that they're to switch officers from their rural crime team to other roles for the next few months because staffing is so stretched. The decision has been strongly criticised by some farmers who say countryside crime is booming. BBC Points West's Scott Ellis has been talking to one concerned farmer.
We met up with Jeremy Padfield, a farmer on the Mendips in Somerset, in the middle of his field of linseed in full flower. It is an idyllic sight, but he's aware of the dark side of rural life.
The main areas of concern are with foot bite, UTV theft, plant trailers, GPS equipment.
It's known that organised criminal gangs are behind the thefts of large farm vehicles, are often resold abroad. Over the summer, air coursing is a particular worry for farmers in Somerset.
They'll arrive with 4x4s and dogs, chase the hare around, kill the hare, and often they'll record it and stream that, and then that goes out on betting sites. Apparently as far away as China it's recorded.
It's little wonder then the farmers in this area are concerned why Avon and Somerset Police are reducing their specialist rural crime team. The decision by Avon and Somerset Police to take 4 of their 6 officers out of the rural crime team comes at a time when farm thefts are up 22% nationally, and here in the southwest that's leading to insurance claims valuing
£25 million for things like tractors and vehicles that have been stolen. Avon and Somerset Police says it's had